Hi, my name is Mikel, and with my partner Diego Gutiérrez and Tomas we are going to present about freeze drying and his use in space programs. Freeze drying is a water removal process to preserve some materials like food and also make it more convenient for transportation due to the space you save compared to the same material without being dehydrated. Freeze drying is used since the first manned space travel in April 12 in 1961 by the Soviet Union in a travel that only take a few hours. Even so, freeze drying fulfilled a fundamental role, feeding the astronauts Yuri Gagarin. But the most famous space travel is the first time that the humanity go to the moon. This trip was commanded by Neil Armstrong in the Apollo 11 mission and take place in Florida in 16th of July of 1969. This travel take more than 8 days in space and a total of 1 day in the moonland. And the food was an important part of the preparation because staying so much time in the space made astronauts lose more than 10 kilos each of them, and replace the energy lost with dehydrated food was very important so astronauts could stay safe. At first, the food was eaten by the astronauts in tube meals, and since then it has evolved to be separated dehydrated food in little plastic bags located in drawers that use little space in the spaceship. This and the freeze drying process help the preservation of dehydrated food, avoiding the reproduction of bacteria or fungi in food for a long time, making it extremely convenient for space travel because astronauts stay long times in space and it's important to preserve their source of energy. An example of the most common dehydrated meals that eat the astronauts in the space travels are variety of fruits like apple that contains a lot of healthy sugar to provide energy. Also, there are meats like fish that contains a lot of proteins and vitamins, or powdered dehydrated eggs.
The process is divided in three stages. The first one is the freezing phase. In this stage, the product is freezed. This can be done in a freezer or any machine that cools. This stage is done to preserve the physical form of the product. The second stage is the sublimation phase. Here, the pressure is lowered and heat is added to the material in order to the water to sublimate. In this stage, 95% of the water is removed. This phase is slow and it has to be done very carefully, because too much heat can alter the structure of the material. The last stage is the absorption phase, where ionically bound water molecules are removed by raising the temperature higher than in the second stage. As my partner said before, freeze drying is a method that has many uses. One of the main purposes that freeze drying has is to dehydrate food for space missions. This process allows the food to use less volume and weight, so then so they can carry more food in an easier way. For this reason, freeze-drying products are used also for military rations. Apart from the space program purposes, freeze-drying is used to reserve coffee beans without destroying the amino acids of the bean and conserving the flavor and aroma. Insects are another product of freeze-drying process. They are dehydrated for animal and human consumption. Freeze drying also has uses in the technological industry. For example, in chemical synthesis, products are often freeze dried to make them more stable, so they are easier to dissolve in water for subsequent use. It can also be used as a separation process in chemistry or biology. In nanotechnology, nanotubes are purified with freeze-drying process to avoid aggregation due to capillary forces during regular thermal vaporization drying. In taxidermy, freeze-drying is used to preserve animals. The species that are preserved by freeze-drying most commonly are crustaceans, fishes, amphibians, reptiles, insects, and mammals in general. This way, animals can be studied conserving all the details without being invasive to the animal's body. Another use of freeze-drying is being a recovery method for water-damaged books and documents. The quality of the restoration depends on the material of the document. In bacteriology, freeze-drying is used to conserve special strains. Lastly, freeze-drying can be used in advanced ceramic processes, which utilize freeze-drying to create a formable powder from a sprayed slurry mist.
As my partner said, this process helped in a lot of ways. I am going to present you some pros and some cons, to then determine who is the most benefit with this process. First, freeze drying preserves all the flavor and necessary vitamins in the food item as there is no heat damage to final product. Second, yeast and bacteria cannot survive on freeze-dried food, and so it is perfectly safe to consume. It is very light in weight and easy to carry, and therefore is very famous among astronauts. That is why is the method they use. It does not cause shrinkage or thawing of the dried food. The food product's taste and smell remains unchanged. Also, it has a long shelf life so can be easily stored for a long period of time. It is very easy to rehydrate the food items. You just need to add water to it and they regain their normal texture, as now in the video we're going to show you. On the downside, the equipments needed in this process are expensive, and so the freeze-dried. The ones that benefits the most are the astronauts, because it helps them to make the food to take the food to space in large expeditions without the risk of eating food in a bad condition. As you can see, the advantages of freeze-dried food far outweigh the negative ones. So, to summarize, freeze drying was an essential part from the space expedition that have been done to today, helping mainly with the food as Mikel said, because this is the only way they have to preserve the food out there. This method had help in chemical synthesis too, to make the product more stable and also as a separation process as my partner Diego said. This thing have helped in a lot of ways, being space expedition the main one. Now we're gonna show you two videos uh, from an astronaut that preserved the food.
Don't want to load your spoon up too much or the fluid will fly everywhere.